Verbal threat. Time for a reality check. Let's get it in.
Set it off. Monotony is not me. I'm too hot, the laundry, get to know me. Hip-hop's my hot, my Gandhi. Confidently do it so nonchalantly. In reality, the threats got a rep like Gandhi. Old school, check it, a black and blondie. Respect her, you better ask your uncle and aunties.
Firstly, the five-way, obviously it was like, for me, it was the first video that I saw. It was one of the things that made me want to start off. And I know it's been the same for hundreds of other people. How did it actually come about?
Well, the actual fact. Well, there was a website called the Way Cwalk, which was the first sort of gathering of sea walkers that I know of, like completely. So it was quite a new thing then. It was actually Gosu who posted up a thread on the forum. Asking for any of the UK sea walkers because we didn't know anybody. There's just us two and we were only doing it in school. It wasn't like a big thing, but we thought there must be some other people. So only 3 of us got in contact, which was Rai, Murky and Stryder. So we just arranged a time to meet in London because that's where they were all from, and just did it basically. But the actual video, the one that got quite big, was the warm-up video. It wasn't even the main video. It's just that that's the one that we actually preferred at the end because it had the blue wall in the back. So it just seemed
cool.
great.
At the moment, there's a big thing going on with a lot of sea walkers, especially the veterans, saying that people need to concentrate more on style as opposed to speed, and there's a bit of conflict, especially with people like Ulrich, who's become a sort of a superstar mainly because of his speed, and Sonic before him, and the whole clown style really, people like Stryder, who are focusing more on speed. What's your whole opinion on this?
I myself have never been a fast sea walker as such. I mean, I think a lot of that comes with sort of body types as well. Like I'm not the smallest dude, so naturally I'm not going to be as light on my feet. I've always sort of focused on sort of style over technique or speed. I think there are a lot of sea walkers that do focus on clean lines and all this kind of stuff, but it's never really interested me. I've always wanted to keep that part of the sea walk real, you know? Like I've always wanted to take it back to its origins and to make it about the message, I guess, or do you know what I mean, the emotions that are involved in the dance style, rather than it becoming too much about how far my leg needs to be, degrees to be, but like it doesn't matter. Like I think the only people that seem to get famous, in my opinion, or to sort of get recognition in sea walking are people that are original in the sense that they don't care about that stuff. They do what they feel natural. And
they don't pay attention to what other people define.
Exactly, and it always turns out the best for them, you know. So I would say never focus on getting things fast. I think things gain speed once you know them better, you know. I always had a martial arts teacher that always used to say, if you can do things slow, you can do it fast. So I think, you know.
That sort of leads on to the next point. At the moment, there's a really high demand for people to have unique styles, and people who have what's deemed as being generic tend to get slated for it, and there's a lot of bad feedback and negativity involved in the scene for people who have. It might appear to be very good and it's very clean and well practiced, but if it isn't something new, then they tend to get slated for it. What's your take on that situation?
I kind of agree. I kind of think that everyone, because it's a style that has such a sort of strong take on improvisation, then I think everyone should be bringing something a little bit new to it, because everyone's different, you know what I mean, it's that simple. I think where the genericism comes from is because people are obviously needing to learn basics and to learn a structure before they can have the sort of vocabulary to improvise.
Yeah.
So I think like as people are starting, that's fine. Like learn, do generic movement, whatever, but don't become that. Don't become the generic movement, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think it's important for people to know, to sort of show their experiences or to show where they're coming from within the C-Walk. At the same time, I think like there's certain things like, I think the UK has a definite style. There's sort of like Nottingham, where I'm from, the only C-Walkers I know from there have a very sort of similar style, and I think it comes with training together and all this kind of stuff, but I think that's fine, you know, coming from different areas and showing your area codes or whatever. I think that's cool, as long as you're then not just a mould of the area, do you know?
Yeah, you're still being something that's yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. The 5-way, obviously, as I said, influenced a lot of people to pick it up and actually start off, but what made you start off in the first place?
There's two reasons. One of them was a bet made between a friend and Gosu.
Right.
Because Gosu's not a natural mover, per se. Yeah? He's not a great dancer in an all-round sort of perception. But one of our friends at school sort of said to Gosu, because Gosu said he wanted to learn C-walking. He saw some videos on the internet or something, said he was going to learn it. And Gosu's the sort of person who, when he says that, he never just does it. He always gets the best at it.
Yeah, does it to the extreme.
It's really annoying, but that's the kind of person he is, yeah. So he said, alright, I'm going to learn it. My friend said it because we had a prom coming up, he said £20 if you can do a show for us at the prom, and you're doing C-Walk and it's good, I'll give you £20, yeah? So I was like, I want £20 too, you know? So I thought I'll go along, I'll learn C-Walking as well as go. So like I said, we were best friends, so it seemed natural for us to learn together. I thought I could help him because I was more of a natural mover. Again, I wasn't trained in anything, but I was.
But yeah,
I had history in dance and stuff, you know. So I thought I could probably help him a lot with it. So that's one of the reasons why we actually decided to start C-Walking. Yeah. But we saw a video, and I can't remember who was the third person in it, but there was Kilo, Viet Shite, his name, yeah? And there was one other dude, and I can't remember his name, but it...
C-Walk.
Maybe it was... Yeah. I think it was a 3-way. It might have been a 2-way.
Quite big at the time.
I can't remember, And it was the only video that I had seen about C-Walking that actually interested me. The rest of it was things like exhibit and stuff, and the actual scripting, and it... Like, it's fine, but that's for them, you know, that I didn't want to mess with that. Like, it didn't interest me, but with this stuff, it was the first time I'd seen people doing it as a dance. And it was like, oh, that's actually like really sick. Like, that's amazing. Like, how can you do that with your feet? It's like glorified tap dancing. It's great, you know what I mean? So like that interested me. Obviously, then the situation happened with the bet, so I was like, oh yeah, well, why not? You know, like it can't hurt.
Just combine them both.
Exactly.
It's changed a lot over the past few years, especially from when it started. The whole clown didn't exist before. I mean, and now there's all these like speed freaks that are trying to compete with each other, and it started to get huge in places like Russia and the Czech Republic. Where do you see it progressing from this? Do you think there's a future for it, or do you think it's starting to come towards its end?
It's always hard to say because I feel it's still a new dance style, and it does depend on certain things, on how people take to it and how it keeps developing. Obviously, like you said, it's changed a lot from what it was. I don't know if that's for the better or not. I haven't decided. Sometimes I feel it is, sometimes I feel it isn't. Basically, I think what's going to happen is it's either going to find itself more as a dance style, like identify itself more, and sort of gain speed in that, and will always be known for what it is, or it's going to get pulled into the umbrella of street dance, and it's going to be a part of street dance.
It's going to get integrated.
Same as what's happened with things like jerking and stuff. It's lost jerking, and it's not just jerking anymore.
It's now a whole part
it's
of
now
street
part,
dance.
it's a part of street dancing.
definitely.
And again, sometimes that's for the better, but it's also for the worst. In the sense that you're gonna have sort of sea walking happening in music videos, Missy Elliott, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be there, but it's not gonna be as good. Do you know what I mean? It's going to lose the sort of quality that it has now.
Like the
because
shuffle
people are
did
being
with
specific.
LMFAO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and it's a shame because I think the amazing thing with sea walking is the fact that you are only using your feet. You are only seeing feet, but the stuff that's come out of it, do you know what I mean? The amount of incredible, imaginative things that have happened from sea walking is like, it still shocks me today how big it's got, do you know what I mean, in that sense?
Definitely.
So for it to lose that and just become, you know, a couple of like heel toes or something, it's not what it needs. But at the same time, I think there's always going to be a following of sea walkers. I think there's always going to be people that see that and want to learn the sea walk.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't think it's ever going to die completely. It's going to be like breaking. I think it's going to get big and then it's going to get smaller, you know, and the smaller people are the core, you know.
Like from my point of view, I mean, I'd love for it to get big. I'd love for it to blow up and become something. But then at the same point, it sort of feels like with it as it is now, it's sort of more underground, and you feel like you're a part of something that's more special, more important. Whereas if you were doing like popping, for example, it's more sort of like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people in one city that could do popping, but as a sea walker you're probably one of a handful in your city, and for me it feels something that's more special and more personal almost, and that's always been my take on it. When you started off, was it hard for you to find other people and to try and like connect with other people, or
it was really hard, mainly because we didn't know how it was going to take in England. We didn't know how people were going to sort of latch onto it, and because we had been around for, it was a good few months before we started hearing of anyone else sort of even attempting, you know. So when you're pushing for something to happen and then you're getting no responses, it was a bit. Again, we did it for ourselves. We wasn't doing it for anyone else, which is why, I think it was original, and you know, what I mean, it changed sort of things. But yeah, I think it was very hard to find other people, and it was very hard to see where it was going until the 5-way video.
And then
when that started picking up speed, obviously it got its first 1,000 views. We were like, whoa, you know, 10,000 was like, what? What's going on? 100,000, then it was going nuts. A million, and it was just, you know what I mean, like at this point and now I think it's got like 27 million views. And
like
do you know what I mean? It's still, like I said, it was the warm-up video. It wasn't even being serious. Do you know what I mean? And I think it just went to show how interested everyone actually was at the time, because it did pick up speed quickly, like how many views it was getting. And I think it was a lot of the Americans sort of saying, the UK can't see what, do you know what I mean? Looking at it and then, oh, they can. And it sort of spread around there. I think it became very viral over there as well as here. And I think since then there was a lot of interest. A lot of people contacted us specifically and was like, do lessons, do this. And we was like, well, that's fine. But if you're going to travel 100 miles every Friday to come train with us, then do that, but you're not. Do you know what I mean? So we still needed it to be a lot bigger before
you could
it was going to get much recognition. But I know what you're saying. I think with sort of the globalization, with like the internet and all this kind of stuff, when you're a dancer, if you do something amazing, it's going to get stolen. Do you know what I mean? Like someone somewhere is going to see it, learn how to do it, and probably do it better a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? They're going to learn that because they want to. So with the sea walking, the stronger it gets, the more people are going to want to do it, the more generic people are going to be, and the more it's going to lose what it has. But at the same time, if you have those same people still pushing and still driving, and if it's sort of a rule that is said, like that you want to try and be unique and you want to be your own style, then hopefully, do you know what I mean, that it will keep the important parts, the key factors of the style.